Hi everybody, it's Mary Ellen from Create With Me, and I'm here in the Creativity Nest for another episode of Teach Me Tuesday. Thanks for joining me. So, I don't know if you're like me, but I always have scraps all over my desk, and especially of designer series paper, but you hate to throw it away because it's so beautiful and you have little pieces all over your desk. And I was thinking about last Friday, I did a coffee class online and we used scraps of designer series paper for a card, and it seemed to go over really well and people really liked it. So I thought I would continue that with another technique using your scraps of designer series paper. So don't throw them away because you're going to want to do this card. Now, sometimes when you're looking for a quick and easy card, you're looking at sentiment. So we have this new stamp set. It's called Sunny Sentiments. I love it. It's got these really bright and happy sayings in it. And sometimes the sentiments are really all you need. So sometimes you just want to put a sentiment on a piece of designer series paper and send the card out. But I'm going to show you how to jazz up that designer series paper background using the big sentiment. So let's go ahead and get started. So what you're going to need is just some scraps of designer series paper. You're going to need some cardstock. You're going to need your card base. In this case, I am using Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that in half. And then I always like to use my bone folder to get a nice crisp crease. You've probably heard me say it before, and I'll say it again, that I equate the bone folder to like the serger in sewing. It just makes your cards more professional. So yes, you could get by without it. You could use your fingernail, but I love my bone folder. So I'm a big proponent of it. Then I'm going to need 2 pieces of plain cardstock. One is 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and then one is 1/4 of an inch smaller. So it is 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, this is the one we're going to do our scraps with. So our card is going to be here, and then we're going to put our scraps on that. So we're going to start with our designer series paper, and I just pulled off ones off of my desk. We may or may not use them all. You're going to need a cutter, and all you're going to do is you're going to make some kind of random cuts in your paper. And I'm going to just, even though I'm going to only need one, I'm just going to cut these up because I can make multiple cards then later. My strips are they're whatever you have on your desk that's wide enough to go on this piece of paper here. So they really only have to be like 4 inches. But mine just happen to be, about 5 1/2 or 6 inches. So I'm just making a pile of strips. This one's a little bit smaller. And I'm just cutting them randomly. So I'm not cutting them a straight line. You'll see I'm cutting them on an angle. And I could make 3 cards out of what I'm doing here. So really, taking your scraps, you can really make them go far. So let me just cut these. You can see how random I'm going. And I've got 2 more. I'm just going to kind of put them together just to save some time. Everything's sticking, but that's okay. And like I said, I don't know if I'll use them all the colors, but I have them. So, all right, so now we've got our strips. Let me move my cutter out of the way and bring in my piece of designer series paper. And I like to use my liquid glue. Just gonna make sure I get the little piece off. I'm gonna start, let's see, I'm gonna start with this green. So I'm just gonna put some glue on it. I'm gonna start right here on the edge. So it's going to kind of be on it. Well, I don't want to do a stripe against a stripe. So it's going to be on the edge here. I don't put glue all the way down. And I'm leaving a little bit of a strip here for a border. So you'll see on this one how I just put glue in the middle. And I'm just leaving a little bit of a border. And yes, I'm going off of the paper, and that's okay because we're going to trim it off later. So it's, see how fast it is? You just lay down the papers. Oh, let's see. We haven't used this one yet. And you kind of go back and forth, just laying down the strips. I need a blue. You can use either side, both sides. Okay, that. And then, is there any that I haven't used? I think I've used them all. So let's finish with the green one again. And I'm going to just put some glue here. And I'm just going to it's going to barely be on there. Okay, so here's my background. And then here is the other side. So let me make sure that's glued down. I'm going to bring my cutter back in. Now here's where I'm going to have, I'll say a little bit of a mess. If I waited a little bit longer, then I wouldn't have the glue to stick to my cutter. But I'm going to just rush things. So I'm going to pick off my pieces that have a little bit of glue on them. I'm going to do this side. You just line it up in the little cutting ridge or indentation there. It's super easy to do. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. So here is our background. So see how fast and easy that was? I'm going to move all my pieces out of the way, and then I'm going to bring in the piece that I have that's just a little bit bigger and glue that. Whoops. Here's the one I was using that we know has glue in it. And so we're just going to lay this down and see there's our background. And then we can just glue that onto, you could add a ribbon here. I'm not going to add a ribbon. I'm going to use, so see how that just finishes it off? It's got that little extra. So that's really pretty. I'm going to use this scallop. So I'm actually covering up a lot of that. But you still get all the stripey. So let's finish this card off. I'm going to bring in the saying that says, thought you could use some sunny thoughts today. And I'm going to stamp it in black. I couldn't decide if I wanted to do blue or black. I decided at the last minute I'm going to do black. And so we'll see how it works. Well, it's not the best stamping, but it's okay. And let's bring in some flowers and add some flowers just to the edge of this. Do I have a scrap paper here? This will work. I'm just gonna, I don't want to stamp on my mat. So I'm just gonna bring in a flower here, maybe a flower up here. Oh, I like that. And then I'm gonna finish with some of the bright yellow right here. Pretty, pretty. Okay. Now we can add some dimensionals. I have a couple that are just the edges. Do you ever use the edges of your dimensionals? Don't throw these away. They're not finished. These are all good pieces that you can use. They're great for times like this where you just need long strips. And then, whoops, sticking to my finger. I'm going to add that, and I'm going to finish it off with some rhinestones. I thought I had my take your pick tool here, but I don't see it. Okay, here it is. Thank you. Oh, let's see. So always decisions. So I'm going to do 3 little spots here. Doesn't need a lot. Maybe a couple up here. Okay, so that is a way to use your designer series paper. And the reason that I love the designer series paper, well, not the reason I love it, but I was going to tell you that we also have the, let's see, we have a designer series paper sale right now that's good through the end of July or the very beginning of August. So you're going to want to stock up on paper. Some are on sale. Oops, sorry, wrong thing. And there is my website, createwithme.stampinup.net, and I have a host code that's open. And I want to show you another card. Here's one that I just got done using the peaches in our July Create With Me at Home. And so I had a lot of the peach paper. So here's the same stamp set using the Happy Hello to You. And then I just added the peach paper in little strips. So here's a fun way and really quick to finish your card using designer series paper. And this designer series paper is, okay, so this is the peaches. Someone asked what designer series paper is. This is actually a lot of random paper. So these are on my desk. So there's peach paper, there's some paper from the hostess. This is from the hostess, and then these two are from hand pen. So this is great. You can mix and match all different kinds of designer series paper. So I really appreciate you guys coming and watching Teach Me Tuesday. And if you want to see the other project that I did using designer series paper, you can go back or you can go up on YouTube and look at Emmy's 3Cs from last week. We did a card with designer series paper and we did some tearing on it. So thank you so much for joining me for Teach Me Tuesday, and I'll see you Friday for Emmy's 3Cs.